YouTube, what's up? BigH Trucking coming to you from Effingham, Illinois. The big old pilot. Petro. So, I was waiting for a load all day yesterday. I had to take a 10-hour break. I stopped about 12 o'clock. So, anyway. So naturally, somebody's going to think that you're going to get, we have a lot of product or a lot of loads coming out of Atlanta, Georgia. Never in a million years did I think for a second that I was going to receive a message from the fleet manager, dispatcher. My fleet manager ended up leaving early yesterday to Deadhead up to Illinois. That's right, from Atlanta, Georgia, all the way up to Monty, Illinois. Now, of course, I didn't make it all the way. I did 571 miles. Got an hour. I got 2 hours left on my clock. That's a beautiful thing about running nights. There's really no interruptions. Plus, I'm empty. So I went up 75.24 to 57. And I'm waiting for instructions. But for the life of me, with all this stuff around Atlanta, Georgia, to have me deadhead over 700 miles makes me wonder about how much product is really out there. Now, I know Prime's got a lot of trucks in Atlanta. I get all that. But I'm also looking at others who are on a spot market who are saying it's sketchy too. Big contract freight. So anybody who works for Prime, we don't have to work the spot market. Prime's got their own customer base. I mean, the question I'll never ask is like, why did that happen? I mean, there's several Tyson plants and Smithfields and Pillsbury. I mean, tons of customers that Prime got. For me to come all the way up here, whatever, I'm getting paid for it. Again, it's my job to drive, right? That's why I decided to be an OTR driver. Speaking of which, I've been following this guy. He went out, I found him about a year and a half ago on the tubes. And he went out, he lived in California at the time, and there was an incentive from the state that if you get rid of your old truck, he was a lease operator for a fertilizer plant in California. But the incentive was in California that if you went out and you got a truck, turned in your old truck, California would, and he never really went over the numbers, but California, it was such a great incentive that he decided to go out and get a long nose Pete, brand new. He ordered it, took him like 6 months, 7 months. This is before the C19 and before the onslaught of trucks. It is bright out here, folks. Actually, I'm going into sunglasses. Whether it's professional or not, my eyes are killing me. So with that being said, actually, so he went out and bought a long-nosed Pete. He did power only for about 6 months. Then he decided to go get a reefer trailer, which he did, 60 grand. I remember that price. He's financing the truck. He's financing a used reefer trailer. He happened to get into the market when the conditions were absolutely phenomenal. Anytime you've had your pick, you're getting $3-4 a mile. I remember him going over his numbers every week. And what struck me, I never, when I was watching, because as an OTR driver, I go all over the country. He only stayed in California. Once in a while, he went to Utah. But part of the incentive of California, just to back up, was they'd give you money, but you had to run X amount of miles, whether it's a quarter or semi-annual. Again, I don't remember the details, so I get it. So anyway, long story short, he basically ran days, and he was home at night, or he would stay overnight and then be home the next day. And the kid was making, he's a kid because he's a lot younger than I am, the kid was making, he was doing 12, 15 gross a week and being home a lot. I was like, wow, okay. Must be nice to have your own truck and trailer, right? You can really dictate what you want to do and when you want to do it. So, as time moves forward, he's killing it. He's absolutely killing it. And again, I'm wondering, like, how come this guy doesn't go across country to Tennessee or to Kentucky and, get those big loads? Because he used the DAP board. He would show, some of these loads running out from the West Coast to East Coast paying $8-9 grand. I'm like, why doesn't this guy do it? Why doesn't he just spring out? All right, leave California for a week and then go out to the East Coast, Midwest. And he would never do it. So, as time went on, he had saved enough money with him and his family. Big family. Let me add this. Big family guy. Really into God, into family. Really phenomenal. Really nice guy, awesome guy. And all he spoke about was his wife and children. Now, he's also got a 5-year-old who's on the autism spectrum and he needs a lot of help. So he wants to be around because he's a handful, and he does have kids ranging from 18 years old down to the kid that's 5 years old who's got the autism. So they decided to move to Tennessee because our in-laws were there, and they found a piece of property and ended up moving them to Tennessee. Well, as they were moving to Tennessee, the market conditions had changed. Not bad, but they had changed. They were changing, I should say. Where throwing a dart at loads wasn't applying anymore. So his 15 gross, 12, 15 gross, because of the way he ran, started going down to 8, 9 gross. Now that's still not bad. But remember, he's financing a 220, let's just say $250,000 worth of product, plus rent, plus kids. His autistic kid was going to special school. So that was, he said he had to make, to break even between his rent, his truck, and all that, he had to average, this is break even, $2.98 a mile. That was his, and he was doing close to 4. Some weeks he was doing over 4. So as you can see, he was making good money. Again, they moved to Tennessee, and the market changed, and all of a sudden, the rates started falling apart. Not only were the rates starting to fall, but the amount of loads on the spot market was starting to diminish. He never explained, and I never questioned it. And who am I to question? I'm just watching this guy, being an owner-up, going through his trials and tribulations, the goods and the bads. So last night he got a load. Actually, it was supposed to be done during the day. And he was venting. He was saying, my business plan never evolved around being an OTR driver. I'm a family guy. I need to be home. I want to be home. I want to go to my daughter's dance recitals. I want to go to my son's baseball games. I want to break in his mitt. I wouldn't like to have the weekends off. And he did spend a lot of time at home, but he was also making that really good money. Again, when the market conditions dictated it. He happened to get stuck at this receiver yesterday for 6 hours, something that us reefer drivers are very accustomed, or, it happens. We're accustomed to that. We roll with the punches. That's part of being a reefer, working for, or being a reefer driver. It doesn't matter if you're an owner-op or you work for a small company, a big company. We're held hostage by these shippers and or receivers. So again, just to rehash it, he said that his business plan never evolved around being an owner-op. And then it all made sense all that time I've been watching his videos. Why didn't he go out west, Midwest? Why didn't he go out for, days at a time? And obviously he answered that question for me because he wanted to be home with his family. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, folks. And what I'm getting to was he's thinking of dumping his truck in his reefer trailer and staying local so this way he can be home on the weekends. I don't know if you can find a gig like that, but maybe you can, maybe you can't. Who knows? So then my question to him was, and I didn't say, I'm just saying this out loud to you guys, what didn't you know you were getting involved with as an owner-op running a reefer? I mean, didn't it ever dawn on you that to really start making money, you have to run day and night? In my case, I do a lot more nights than days. He said he can't do nights. He said he's afraid. I'm not quoting him, because he cannot sleep during the day, that he's afraid to run nights because he may fall asleep. Now, this is a long-winded, drawn-out video, I get it. Sometimes I don't go in direct lines, I go in circles. Forgive me, that's just who I am, and my brain is like that, plus after driving 10 hours, I'm a little bit tired. So listen, guys, if this is directed at the new guys or new people coming in the future or presently looking to become, whether it's Prime, whether it's Snyder with Shift, whatever, it doesn't matter what company you work for. If you want to come into the industry, you make money, and you're a young pup, OTR is where the money is going to be. But you got to understand what OTR it means. Not only does it mean over-the-road trucking, but it means you're only going home once a month. You're working weekends and holidays. And the good thing about training is that you get to experience that. I experienced that. I drew a conclusion in the very beginning that I enjoy this. This is pretty cool. I could see being out for, my trainer was really big on six weeks out and a week home. It's like, I could do this, is no problem. So that part of it, I accepted. I knew I wasn't going home. Guys, you're not going home. Don't ask anybody if you're going into a company that's doing OTR do I have the weekends off? No. I hope you guys watch this video and understand that's not how it works, folks. No. Go local or regional. And as a strict OTR driver, over the road, again, meaning you're not going home at night, you're not going home on the weekends, and guess what? You may have to drive nights. Now, when I got out of training, because my training kept a certain schedule. I would drive from, like, say, 1 o'clock in the afternoon to 1 o'clock in the morning. And he never let me drive over, I think it was once or twice where he let me drive over the night into the morning. And I didn't like it. I was like, this sucks. When I went on my own, I got my truck. My first load was supposed to be picked up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I didn't get out of the shipper till 11 o'clock at night. And that load was an overnight, I had to be delivered the next evening, Saturday evening actually. And I had 500 plus miles to go. And I had to figure out that I could run 4 of it, stop, reset my clock, run the rest in. Well, lo and behold, guess what? What happened to him last night happened to me, my first load. I got stuck at the shipper for, almost a full reset. It was like 7-8 hours. I ran the night. I was worried because that witching hour between 4 and 7 a.m. is the toughest part of driving the nights. That's when your body naturally wants to go to sleep. Anyway, I ended up doing it. I said, "No, it's not so bad. Not so bad." When I almost quit Prime, it was because I had to run nights. I was suffering what he was suffering from. I could not go to sleep during the day. I tried, and I was getting 2 hours, waking up, go back to sleep for an hour, get up. I just didn't have any real sleep. And I'm like, you know what? For the money I'm making, yeah, it's decent. It's all good. I really don't need it. In the situation I'm in, I don't need this. This is an absolute joke. I cannot sleep during the day. So at the time, I was dating this lady, this woman, and she's like, just give it another week. So I did. I gave it another week. Still the same problem. Could not sleep during the day. No matter what. I went for walks, whatever. After driving all night, I could not go to sleep. It was that broken sleep. It was no deep sleep REM shit. And I would wake up exhausted. Or whatever. I'd start driving exhausted. And worse was when I had to leave, like, say, 9, 10 o'clock at night when the sun was down. It was nighttime to me, right? It's the sunlight that was kicking my butt. Another week goes by. I'm telling her, I'm like, listen, babe, this is no way. I cannot do this. It's not worth the money. This is, whatever. I gave it a try. She's like, no. She goes, you come too far to give up. Don't give up. Give it another week. 3 weeks went by. Still a little bit better, but still horrible sleep patterns. I told her, I said, listen, I know what you're going to tell me, but I'm done. I'm walking away. I'm actually going to contact my fleet manager in the morning, and I'm going to say I'm done. That's how close I came. She's like, one more chance. Just give it the full month, and then see what happens. One thing I loved about her was she was not a quitter. She was one of the hardest working people, individuals, humans I've ever met in my life. Incredible work ethic. And she's, she would work 16, 14, 16-hour days as a project manager for an architectural firm. And I was like, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it. And she's, sometimes I call her at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. She's just putting it away, and it has to be up at 7 again. All right, I'm going to give it the full month. I'm going to give it the full 30 days. And I told her, I said, I don't want to hear anything out of your mouth. After 30 days, I said, hon, I need to sleep. I'm having sleep deprivations. This is not healthy. I'm worried about falling asleep behind the wheel. I mean, it got that bad. And she's like, take a deep breath and see what happens. So finally, long story short, after I think it was 3.5 weeks, I pulled into wherever I pulled into. I grabbed something to eat. I went to sleep. I actually slept for like 6 hours straight, and I was like, oh hell yeah. I woke up, praise the Lord. I was beyond ecstatic. That's how close I came. So my point here is, and again, sorry for the long-winded message, if you're coming into OTR, know that you're not going home on the weekends, every weekend. Know that you will, in the reefer division, you will be driving nights. There's no way around it. It's the way food distribution centers are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can, I guess, suggest to your fleet manager that I can't, I only run during the days, but now you're limiting yourself to how much money you're going to make. I mean, you could try that. Listen, whatever you do, you do. But you ain't going home on the weekends, and you are driving nights, and you if you have a family just like this guy does, and you love your family as deeply as he does, nothing matters to him more than his kids and his wife. Nothing. Because he talks about them like I've never heard another person speak about his family. Really, brings goosebumps to my body, because I don't have a family like that. I don't have a family. So for me, OTR was a perfect choice. But if you got young kids at home, he's only 35, 36 years old. If you have young kids at home, and unless you are desperate to make money, and again, you are as close as he is, I wouldn't go OTR, because you will be missing them. Second of all, when you're in training, it gives you false expectations, because you know what? Yeah, your trainer's sleeping, but unless you can have a little conversation. I can't have a conversation with anybody unless I go into, the fuel desk here at the Petro, or into the main building and start a conversation. You ain't talking to nobody. So if you cannot be your own best friend and be mentally strong, don't do OTR. OTR is on the next level. Why do you think you make the money that you make? Why don't you think local trucking companies don't pay as well as over-the-road companies do? It takes a certain breed to do this. It's no joke. So again, this message is for anybody who's thinking about coming in, who's new, who's still in training. Don't ask the question if I can go home on the weekends, because the answer is no. How long you stay out dictates on how much money you're going to make. I'll do 6 weeks minimum, 8 weeks is average, 2 months. When I'm out here, all I want to do is run, because it takes my mind off of crazy shit. It keeps me moving. I'm not the kind of guy that likes to sit around and sit at truck stops. The only one to come to a truck stop is to shower, do my break now, and get on down the road. That's me. But OTR is next level. Really think about it. Again, if you have a family and you're close, yeah, you can do all the FaceTiming and you could do all the text messaging. It's not the same, guys. You will be missing them. You'll miss the laughter, the smells, the scenarios. I mean, you'll be so lonely that you end up leaving. So why start something if you're not going to follow through? And that's the message I wanted to bring. I felt bad for this guy. He's got $250,000 worth of equipment, and he's ready to hang his hat out because his business model never reflected going OTR. My question to him is, why'd you buy long-nosed Pete with a sleeper? You should have just bought a day cab. Now, he might have been feeling sorry for himself because he was doing something he didn't like at that moment in time. He had to drive nights. And, as an owner-op and you're on these spot markets, you can pick and choose your loads. His loads are he's always, every time I watch it, he's driving during the day. He's parking his truck by 9, 10 o'clock at night. He's home 4 nights a week. And that's phenomenal. But it comes in time when the market is going to turn on you, and you have to adapt to that market. Even with Prime or any other mega carrier, the economy dictates on how many loads they're going to be in the marketplace. And what time you're picking it up, and how many other drivers are in that same area. There's a lot of little pieces of the puzzle that need to be fit together. But just know, guys, if you're coming into OTR, is OTR really what you want to do? Because if it's about the money, guys, it ain't gonna work. You're not gonna last. You're not going to last. You're gonna waste your own time. You're gonna waste the company's money. You're just gonna waste time. My other thought is, if you go on through a training program, and like for instance Prime, where you can go company or you can go lease, and you leave training and you're not sure yet, go company, because money's not coming out of your pocket to pay for a truck that you may not be able to, at the end of the day, when you realize you're all by yourself or you're missing home. Not to say you can't walk away from leasing, because you can, but the longer you stay in the leasing program, the more money that you're leaving on the table when it comes to end of the term bonus. Like, I'm coming up on my last go around, my last year. If I were to leave today, I think I'm leaving like 10 grand on the table for my completion bonus. But again, if you're not sure after training that OTR is for you, then go company for 6 months and see how it works out. Then you can always go lease. But make sure, I hope you guys really, I know it's long-winded, I'm sorry. I felt bad for this guy, but because I don't think he realized when the market turned on him, and is turning, that he cannot just get loads that go during the day. And sometimes shippers and receivers, you may have a 5 o'clock in the afternoon pickup or delivery, and I don't know, the internet goes down for some odd reason or something malfunction, and they're 5 hours behind. These things happen more often than not. So just keep that in mind. I wish everybody luck and success. OTR is really awesome. I'm not downplaying it. It's really good. But you got to be your own best friend. You got to make sure that you can stay away from home for long periods of time. Otherwise, you're not going to make money, especially leasing. And you're driving nights, and you're missing holidays. I'm sorry. Since I started OTR, I haven't spent one Christmas at home. I spent each Thanksgiving at home, but no Christmas at home, no New Year's, no Valentine's Day. What else is there? 4th of July, no 4th of Julys, no Memorial Days, no Labor Days. I spend my time on the road. It's just the way my schedule falls. This year, I'm going to make it happen where I'm home for Christmas and New Year's. It's been, it'll be going on 3 or 4 years now, because I stayed out with my trainer over Christmas too. But hey, listen, that's what's going to happen. All right, that's the reality of OTR. What I bring you is the reality of OTR. I don't sugarcoat it, because you know what? When I was looking to come into this business, I wanted to find good information, and I really couldn't. There wasn't really a lot of guys doing it. Now there's 10,000 people doing videos, so there's a lot to pick from. But the reality of the beast is, yeah, it looks glorious, glamorous, but again, last time I'm going to repeat this, OTR means over the road trucking, and you're not home nights, weekends, and holidays. With that being said, stay safe, make good decisions. Peace out.